Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. So I'm going to share with you this other message that was shared to one of our admins, and I'm going to narrate for you this story. The message reads like this: hello my brother, can you please post for me? So what has been happening in our family is that recently my grandmother, she is like someone who is losing her mind. She has been confessing a lot about a lot of things that has happened to her. The way it started with my auntie. When we were growing up, we had this other auntie of ours. She was quite a very beautiful woman, but what surprised me is that auntie never got married and she never had any kids of her own. And always, I still remember that me and my cousins, when we were growing up, would be like gossiping about auntie. Like, I don't want to be like auntie, even though she's beautiful, she doesn't have any guy in her life. But later on, I began to understood that there was something that was going on with auntie, because she was always sad. Growing up at our homestead, we had this very big mango tree. So what auntie will do, maybe in the mornings or in the late afternoons, she will go and sit down there. But the way that she'll be doing her things, it will be like as if she is lost in her own thoughts. So sometimes what will happen is maybe you just think that let me go and sit down with auntie, but she won't even notice that there is someone who is walking towards me. Many times I will go there and sit with her, maybe even for 20 minutes, and she won't even realize that there is someone who is sitting right there next to me. And if you just say, auntie, what are you doing? She will look at you, then she will start to scream. But the scream, it was as if she had seen something that is so scary. If you ask her, then she will tell you, can you see that man behind that tree? That man is holding a knife. He has a lot of blood in his hand. Then she will start to name all of the people who had died in our family. She will be like pointing at her own body. My brother, this man, he stabbed my brother in the heart. You see, my sister, this man stabbed my sister straight in the stomach. My sister had no chance of survival. It was really painful each and every time when auntie would mention the name of my mother, because my mother, when she passed away, I was quite young, but I still remember how exactly my mom suffered before she passed on. Because my mom, when she was so sick, she could not even get up. We used to take ice blocks, then we put those ice blocks in a cloth, then we wrap that cloth around my mom's head. My mom, she was like suffering from this disease that no one even understand what kind of a disease it was, because at the clinic they said that my mom was suffering from malaria because she was feeling hot and cold at the same time. But what pains me also is that a few days before my mom eventually passed away, they came these doctors. They are called Doctors Without Borders. So there was this French doctor, I still remember her. She was so angry because she was like, the person who was treating this patient does not even know what they were doing, because my mom apparently was given wrong treatment, and it was the one which eventually led to her death. The unfortunate part is that the country from where I come from, there is nothing like justice or freedom, because if there was justice, I think those nurses that were giving wrong treatment to my mother, they should have been punished. But there was nothing that was even said about it, because that doctor even said that I am going to make a report. These people should suffer the consequences. But I don't think anything happened. When my mom passed away, everything just went back to normal. So when my mom died, I was not even there at the house. I had gone out because I had been sent to the shops to buy something for her. Upon my return, I found out that my mom had passed away, but it was said that she was calling out my name. Then one of my cousin's sister then told me that when auntie was about to die, she was shouting, saying that there is a man who is entering the house holding a knife, and he is stabbing her with that knife in her head. So each and every time that my auntie will be talking about this man holding a knife, it will just traumatize me, because I will think of the way my mom died. It was the same things that auntie was talking about. Then this auntie of mine, it was like as if she was losing her mind, because they used to chain her to that tree, because everyone was just afraid that maybe one day she would just get up and run away and never come back. So I don't know what happened on this other day. say if the chain went loose or something. She was sitting alone as usual. Then all of a sudden she just disappeared. We were told we had to go out and look for her. We went out, we tried to search for her, but there was no clue where auntie had gone. Few days passed. Then we had the news that there was a body of a woman that was found dead in the bushes. The guy who found auntie was this guy who was herding his cattle. Everyone went there, but funny things do happen in this world because there was no police that ever came. There was nothing. Auntie was never taken to the mortuary. What happened is that uncle then went and informed the village headsmen about what had happened. Then they went to the village chief. Then they were given a go-ahead to bury my auntie. The whole thing happened so fast because like auntie was found around 10 a.m. but by afternoon she was already buried. Even the village chief, he sent his own TLB to dig up auntie's grave. The reason that was given is that since she had been dead for a couple of days, there was a bad smell that was coming out of here, so she had to be buried so fast. Then there was this other guy at the funeral. I think he was drunk or something because he was saying that why are you burying this person when you know that some of her body parts are missing. He said that her left arm and her right leg were missing. He was like, are we not supposed to wait until we find out what happened to her body parts before we bury her? That story, I still remember it because at that time I was a friend with this man's granddaughter. So she told me that her grandfather had been told that he was supposed to pay a fine of 2 cattle because of the words that he had said on my auntie's funeral. The other thing that happened is that during my auntie's funeral, that mango tree, it was then cut down. The reason why it was cut down, I still don't remember. But the funny part about that tree, every time when I visit home, I always look at where that old tree used to be. So now there is this stump. So what happens, like even if it is in October, from where I come from, when it's October, it will be so hot that nothing can ever grow. But that tree stump, there are something like branches that come out of that tree, small branches, and then they will be green. After a few weeks, those small leaves, they will just die out. Then they wait again for the next year. So what surprised me is that at our place there are a lot of goats, but you know, like goats, they love to eat anything that is green. But when this tree stump is green, they don't even bother to go there and eat those leaves. So I truly don't understand what is the meaning of those leaves getting green then drying out each and every year. Now my story is that grandma, there is something that is happening to her. She is acting as if she is crazy. Recently I had a report about her confessing to each and everyone that she meets on the road. She started when she greeted this other woman who is also staying in our village. She just said to her, there is something that I want to tell you before I die. Do you know that I killed all of my children? So that woman was so shocked. She went and then reported the matter to our village headsmen. But the story goes like this. After she had reported the story to our village headsman, then that guy said, what you have done is that you have accused this woman of witchcraft, so I'm going to report this matter to the chief. So when that woman heard about this thing going to the village chief, she was afraid that maybe she will lose her land or something. Then she didn't say anything about it. She only told her child. So me and her child, we are both working in this country where we are staying right now. So she told me that this is what your grandmother said to my mother. So when this woman was telling me what had happened back home, I was not even angry at her because I think somewhere in December last year when I was home, we were sitting, it was me, my kids, my cousins, sisters, and some of their kids, and also one of our uncle and grandma. So we were just sitting having a nice time. Then out of nowhere, grandma just pointed her finger at me. She was like, this one, she is going to die of an accident just like her father did. So when uncle said, Ma, what are you saying? She was so shocked because maybe she thought that she was talking to herself. Then she realized that everyone everyone had heard what she was saying. Then that is when she said, I was just praying for you, my granddaughter, so that when you return to your workplace, you are going to be safe. God is going to keep you safe. Up until today, I am so scared. Each and every day when I get into a car, I just remember those words that grandma said, that this one is going to die of a car accident. Those words, whenever I think about them, I just kneel down and I start to pray that, God, even if it means that it is the way that I'm going to die, please, God, all that I want to do is to make sure that before I die, at least my kids, let them grow up so that they can take care of themselves. My sister, if I had to tell you the story of my life, I think the whole day will just pass me telling you what I went through, because grandma was so cruel to me and my cousins when we were growing up. It was like as if we were not even her grandchildren, because she treated us like we were her slaves. Even this thing of me having 3 kids with 3 different fathers, it was not because of my choice, but it is the things that grandma put us through. There are things that grandma did. I wish that I would just do a voice note. Maybe you will understand my story. That was a message that we received from Anonymous. The sad part about it is that when she said that now we are the ones who are responsible for taking care of her medical bills, life is very unfair. Guys, let's meet again in the following episode.